Vice Chairman of the British Dental Association. He joins me from our studios in Birmingham. Eddie, it's good to see you. Thanks for being with us. I don't know if you heard what was coming in from that report that the government says that there's no shortage of, there's no problem here.
Yeah, and it's strange, isn't it, that you've carried out your own survey. I've been on 14 different radio stations today across the country talking about this story, and that's not the picture I see. It's not the stories I hear from the regions out there. And surveys can prove one thing, but in practicality terms, a lot of these patients are not able to access NHS care. It's something the BDA are very unhappy about. We would like to provide the care for these patients who are struggling to get an NHS dentist.
So why is that service not being provided for people?
Well, the money that NHS England have been commissioning for dentistry has dried up in relative years. The problem with queuing around the block for a dental practice, which was there 10 years ago, was supposed to be solved by the contract that they introduced in 2006. And here we are a decade later still talking about a problem with NHS dental contracts where good practices are not allowed to expand, take on more staff, and allowed to see more patients. It's ridiculous. We go through a terrible tendering process when they have additional capacity to commission dental services. Dental charges in the last 2 years have gone up 10%, 5% last year, 5% the year before. None of this additional money that's coming from the patients is being invested into dental practices to allow them to see more patients.
So where's the money going?
It's going into the Treasury coffers. It's a tax that dental practices are collecting on behalf of the government. Some dental practices are actually collecting more from the patient than the NHS is actually paying them. So they're having to give money back to the NHS for treating patients.
So why aren't practices allowed to expand and to take in more patients?
Because every practice has a contract for a certain amount of activity per year. And in fact, a lot of practices are struggling to hit that activity and having money clawed back because the activity measures don't reward practices that take on patients who have lots and lots of dental disease. So if you see a patient and spend many hours putting that right, at the end of that particular time, you may be out of pocket as a business. And at the end of the year, worse still, NHS England may penalise you because you haven't hit your target on activity. It's a bonkers system. In 2007, the Health Select Committee, I gave evidence to the Health Select Committee in 2007, said the 2006 contract was not fit for purpose. And here we are, 11 years later from that introduction, and we're still no nearer to actually developing a contract that works for the dental practices to allow them to see patients and to provide the care we want to for our patients.
Do you have any sense that this is a situation that might change anytime soon?
No, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid that the government and the Department of Health don't listen to us. They regard us as moaning dentists. That's what we are. And sadly, patients are not complaining to their MPs. The only thing that will actually change things is if people actually write to their MPs, fill their postbags with all their problems about gaining access to NHS dentistry, and then the Minister for Dentistry may do something about it.
Maybe they're not doing that because, as the government says, 95% of patients do manage to get an appointment if they want one.
But that's clearly not true because, as I say, you have done research within over 2,000 practices you've contacted, and you haven't been able to gain an appointment in half of them. And everyone that I spoke to in all the regional radio stations today were full of stories of dental practices that were unable to take their patients on when they actually went to the practice. My own practice here in Birmingham has a waiting list of about 12 months. And there is no plans to commission any more activity in that area of Birmingham for the foreseeable future.
All right. Eddie Crouch from the British Dental Association. Thanks very much indeed for giving us your perspective on all of this. Thanks, Eddie. Thank you.